Hello. Today we're going to learn all about the United States of America. This is what the United States of America looks like on a map. The United States of America is also known as the United States, America, or the U.S.A. The United States of America is a country that is part of the continent of North America. Here is North America on the map. To the north of the USA is Canada, and to the south is Mexico. It is a country that is made up of 50 smaller areas, which are called states. Each state has its own name and government. Here is the American flag. The American flag is sometimes called the Stars and Stripes or the Star-Spangled Banner. The Star-Spangled Banner is also the name of the American national anthem. There are 50 stars on the American flag. Each star represents one of the 50 states. The 13 stripes represent the first 13 colonies that declared independence from Great Britain after the American War of Independence. As well as the 50 states, the USA has 14 overseas territories. 5 of them are inhabited, meaning people live there. They are Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. 9 of them are uninhabited, meaning nobody lives there. Washington, D.C. is the capital city of the United States of America. This is an area that is set apart from the other 50 states. Here it is on the map. Washington, D.C. should not be confused with the state of Washington. They are on opposite sides of the country. Each state has its own capital city too. Do you know what a capital city is? A capital city is normally the headquarters of a country's government, often but not always the largest city in a country, the place where the head of state, like the king, queen, or president, lives. The USA is the 3rd largest country in the world by total area, at 3.8 million square miles. It is 40 times the size of the UK, which is only 93,000 square miles. But it's half the size of Russia, which is 6.6 million square miles. In fact, Russia is the largest country in the world. The USA is the 3rd largest country in the world by population. It has a population of 331 million. It is 5.5 times more than the population of Italy, which is 60 million. But China has the largest population in the world, with a whopping 1.4 billion people. It's 4.5 times bigger than the USA. The 5 largest cities in the USA by population are: Phoenix has 1,608,139 people. Houston has 2,304,580 people. Chicago has 2,746,388 people. Los Angeles has 3,898,747 people. And New York has a whopping 8,804,190 people. There are another 5 cities with populations over 1 million in the USA: Philadelphia, San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, San Jose. In fact, There are 326 cities in the USA with populations of over 100,000 people. The surrounding waters of the USA. Do you know which oceans and seas surround the United States? The Bering Sea, Arctic Ocean, Gulf of Alaska, Pacific Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, and Atlantic Ocean. The United States has 97 official mountain ranges. The Rocky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and the Alaskan Range are some of the most well-known with the highest peaks. Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley, is in Alaska and has the highest mountain peak in North America. It is 20,310 feet tall. That's the same height as 16 Empire State Buildings all stacked on top of each other. In fact, the 10 highest peaks in the United States are all in the Alaskan Range. There are some very tall mountains in the other mountain ranges of the USA. Mount Whitney in the Sierra Nevada, Mount Elbert in the Rocky Mountains, and Mount Mitchell in the Appalachian Mountains all have very high peaks. These mountains are very tall, but not quite as tall as Mount Everest in the Himalayas, which is the tallest mountain in the world. Mount Everest is 29,031 feet tall. The rivers of the USA. There are many long and famous rivers in the USA. The longest river in the USA is the Missouri. At 2,341 miles long, it runs through the states of Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. The Missouri runs into the second longest river in the United States, the Mississippi. The Mississippi is 2,202 miles long and runs through the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The length of the Missouri and the Mississippi rivers put together is approximately the same distance as Oklahoma City to London in the United Kingdom. That's a long way. There are several other very long rivers in the United States. Some of them flow through Canada and Mexico too. The lakes. The Great Lakes are 5 massive bodies of water that lie either between or close to the border between the United States and Canada. There are 5 Great Lakes: Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. They are amongst the largest lakes in the entire world. Lake Superior is the largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area. It is a whopping 31,700 square miles. It contains as much water as all the other lakes combined. Lake Superior is 1,330 feet deep. This means you could sink the Eiffel Tower into its deepest part and still wouldn't see the top of it. Lake Michigan is the 5th largest lake in the world and the only Great Lake that is fully inside U.S. territory. In fact, it is the largest lake in the entire world that is only in one country. Unfortunately, it is also the most polluted of the Great Lakes, with microplastics, industrial chemicals, and sewage. Lake Huron is the 2nd largest Great Lake. It can get very stormy, and it is said that over 1,000 ships have sunk in its waters. In 1913, a storm hit the lake, producing 90 miles per hour winds. and waves of over 35 feet. The cyclone produced by this storm was the strongest ever to hit U.S. soil. Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are the two smallest of the 5 Great Lakes, but they are still very large. Of the two, Lake Ontario is the smaller, but is still 1,306 times the size of Lake Windermere, which is the largest lake in England. One of the most famous landmarks in the whole world, Niagara Falls, drains from Lake Erie into Lake Ontario. Famous landmarks. There are many famous landmarks around the USA, from incredible man-made structures to natural wonders. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty sits on Liberty Island in the harbour of New York City. It was given to the USA by France in 1886 as a gift to the American people. It is 305 feet tall and is visited by over 3 million people a year. Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral is in Florida and is most famous for being the home of NASA. The first people to set foot on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, were launched in their rocket from Cape Canaveral in 1969. The name Cape Canaveral is from the Spanish Cabo Canaveral and is the 3rd oldest surviving European place name in the United States. Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls are made up of 3 waterfalls: the American Falls, the Bridal Veil Falls, and the Horseshoe Falls, on the border of Ontario, Canada, and New York, USA. The longest fall, which is on Horseshoe Falls, is about 162 feet in height, which is approximately the same height as the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. In 1901, Annie Edson Taylor decided she would be the first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Amazingly, she survived. The White House. The White House is in Washington, D.C., and every president since John Adams has lived there. It was designed by James Hoban, who was an Irish immigrant and architect. He was handpicked by George Washington himself. It has 132 rooms, including 35 bathrooms, over 6 floors. The kitchen can feed up to 140 guests. The Golden Gate Bridge. Opened in 1937, it took 4 years to build and at the time was considered one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. You can walk across the bridge in the day, but you are not allowed to cross on roller skates or skateboards. The length of the bridge is 9,266 feet. It was the longest bridge in the world when it was completed. The Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon in Arizona is 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide, and can reach a depth of over 6,000 feet. It is home to a large variety of animals, including sheep, deer, mountain lions, coyotes, foxes, reptiles, birds, and rodents. There are 6 Native American tribes generally associated with it, stretching way back before its discovery by Europeans. They are called the Navajo, Hopi, Hualapai, Havasupai, Paiute, and Zuni tribes. Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is a 60-foot-high sculpture of 4 presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, located in South Dakota. It was built on land that is sacred to the Native American Lakota Sioux, an indigenous tribe who consider the monument a desecration of the land. It took 14 years to build at a cost of nearly $1 million. That's about $20 million in today's money. Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa is one of 5 volcanoes that form the island of Hawaii in the U.S. state of Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean. The largest above-water volcano in both mass and volume, Mauna Loa has long been considered the largest volcano on Earth. According to a Hawaiian legend, this volcano was formed by Pele, the goddess of volcanoes and fire. Denali. Denali comes from a local indigenous name which roughly translates as the Great One. Denali is actually the tallest mountain on land, a mile taller than Everest if you measure it from its very base to its summit, although Everest is the highest above sea level by some distance. It is growing by about 0.04 inches, 1 millimetre, a year, and can be seen almost 200 miles away. Animals. The bald eagle and the American bison are the 2 national animals of the U.S.A. Despite weighing up to 2,200 pounds, approximately the weight of a small car, an American bison can run up to 40 miles per hour. American bison once covered the Great Plains and much of North America, but they were hunted close to extinction in the 19th century. Just a few hundred remained. Due to conservation efforts, bison numbers have rebounded and there are now about 200,000. In 2016, the bison was named the national mammal of the U.S.A. The bald eagle. The bald eagle has been the national bird of the U.S.A. since 1782. It is one of the biggest and most powerful birds of prey. Its image now appears on the official insignia of many U.S. government institutions, $1 bills, and the President's flag. There are many other animals that live in the United States. Here are some of them: wolf, buffalo, squirrel, raccoon, alligator, moose, brown bear, polar bear, eagle, tortoise. Food. There are lots of different types of foods and dishes that are associated with the United States of America. Burger, tacos, fried chicken, apple pie, hot dog, clam chowder, Texas barbecue, grits. Americans consume approximately 50 billion burgers a year. That's an average of 2.4 a day per person. That's a lot of burgers. Over 10 billion donuts are eaten in America every single year. This many donuts in a line would reach the moon, back to the Earth, and then back to the moon again. The National Turkey Federation of America estimate that over 46 million turkeys are eaten at Thanksgiving every year in America. How many facts do you remember? Do you remember all the 50 states? Here's a song to help you.
Arizona, North Dakota, Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut and Colorado, California, Delaware, Florida, Louisiana, Vermont, Kansas, Michigan, South Dakota, Tennessee, Minnesota, Oregon, Mississippi, Illinois, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Georgia and Hawaii, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland and Washington and Iowa, New Hampshire and Kentucky, Indiana, Maine, Virginia, New York and Missouri and Nevada and New Mexico, Wisconsin, Utah and Montana, New Jersey and Idaho, Wyoming, Texas and Ohio. Don't forget Nebraska, the Carolinas, North and South and very cold Alaska. Arizona, North Dakota, Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut and Colorado, California, Delaware, Florida, Louisiana, Vermont, Kansas, Michigan, South Dakota, Tennessee, Minnesota, Oregon, Mississippi, Illinois, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Georgia and Hawaii, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland and Washington and Iowa, New Hampshire and Kentucky, Indiana, Maine, Virginia, New York and Missouri and Nevada and New Mexico, Wisconsin, Utah and Montana, New Jersey and Idaho, Wyoming, Texas and Ohio, don't forget Nebraska, the Carolinas, North and South and very cold Alaska. Arizona, North Dakota, Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut and Colorado, California, Delaware, Florida, Louisiana, Vermont, Kansas, Michigan, South Dakota, Tennessee, Minnesota, Oregon, Mississippi, Illinois, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Georgia and Hawaii, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland and Washington and Iowa, New Hampshire and Kentucky, Indiana, Maine, Virginia, New York and Missouri and Nevada and New Mexico, Wisconsin, Utah and Montana, New Jersey and Idaho, Wyoming, Texas and Ohio, don't forget Nebraska, the Carolinas, North and South and very cold Alaska. Arizona, North Dakota, Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut and Colorado, California, Delaware, Florida, Louisiana, Vermont, Kansas, Michigan, South Dakota, Tennessee, Minnesota, Oregon, Mississippi, Illinois, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Georgia and Hawaii, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland, Washington and Iowa, New Hampshire and Kentucky, Indiana, Maine, Virginia, New York and Missouri and Nevada and New Mexico, Wisconsin, Utah and Montana, New Jersey and Idaho, Wyoming, Texas and Ohio, don't forget Nebraska, the Carolinas, North and South and very cold Alaska.